Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from Super Soul Farm. This is Wisdom of the Sages, your daily yoga podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York, Kaustubha. Welcome to our show. This is our 1 hour show, and we usually do, because it's Thursday, question day, but there's a very special day we're excited about today called Navami, sometimes called Navami. I think one's Hindi and one's Sanskrit. DT, what do you think? It's one Hindi, one Sanskrit. Nava and Nomi, Navami.
Yeah. No means 9. So
No means 9.
Right.
But
And
Nava is also 9, yes?
Nava, yes, Nava is also 9. And it's the 9th day of Navaratras, right?
Oh, that's why. It's the 9th day of the spring Navaratra, the worship of the goddess. But maybe it's because it's Sanskrit. I think the Nava and the No. No is Hindi for 9.
No is Hindi for 9, for sure. I'm not sure.
Sometimes people call it Ram Nomi. And sometimes people call it Ram Navami. But whatever it is, it's the very, very auspicious appearance. You don't say birth for Avatar. Appearance of Lord Sri Ram Bhagavan Ki Jai. So today we're going to sort of detour from the Bhagavatam and just talk about the wonderful pastimes of Lord Ram, if that's okay with everybody. But Kaustubha inspired me last night after finishing Sweet Baby Krishna. He called me and says, "Hey, it's Ram's appearance tomorrow. What should we do about that?" What do you think, Kaustubha?
People were asking for it yesterday on the chat thing.
You know, if you're new to the show, we have a Patreon group that has this out of control chat, and it's not just like they're chatting like a bunch of like little chatty birds. They're actually discussing transcendental topics all day long. It's actually incredible. It's beyond a chat board. It's like a Hari Katha, Ram Katha board. That means you're always speaking about the transcendental topics. And they're talking about recipes and how to play songs on the harmonium and asking spiritual questions and asking questions about, stuff they're struggling with. And it becomes like a really community support team. So thanks to everybody who engages in that. My phone is off the hook all day, seeing everybody's information. And there's actually, me being especially distracted and attention deficit disorder, child, I find it quite fun to glance at that rather than Instagram or some validation from a Facebook life. I'd rather get my attention deficit disorder directed towards transcendental topics. So
that's right. You don't have to give these things up. You just have to align them properly, right?
That's the thing about Bhakti. We don't give up anything. Even our attention deficit disorder is just engaged in spiritual service. And so,
speaking of Patreon, I had fun yesterday. You know what happened? You know what I did?
What happened?
I had normally, I often host groups of children, school groups at the Bhakti Center. And, but of course, due to the social distancing and all that, they couldn't come to the Bhakti Center. So we did it over Zoom. And so I gave a presentation to all these children from West End Secondary School in Manhattan, and it's recorded, so I'm going to share it on Zoom. I'll try to do it this morning.
Nice.
I'm sorry, I'll share it on Patreon. But it might be nice for parents or for people that want to share some kind of presentation with children. It's got a slideshow, and then the kids can ask questions and everything. So it's like it's going back and forth. It's kind of fun.
Do you like teaching kids?
Yeah, it's really great.
Like, what's your opening gambit with kids? How do you?
Well, I got this slideshow, so I guess I kind of work with that. But
kids like slides.
Yeah, I don't know if it's I don't know if this is my own chauvinism, whatever. But You know, New York kids, like kids growing up in Manhattan, and you know, they're like sharp. You know, they're kind of mature.
They are mature. They mature quicker, I think.
Yeah, and so they always have really good. They just like they're almost like adults, but just like really sweet adults, really sweet little adults, you know. And so it's always fun.
Adults before their major issues become manifest. Saving that for puberty.
Right. Yeah, I think they were like 10 and 11 years old. So I'll post that on Patreon today, and you can all check it out. Those that are subscribed.
If you're interested in opening those secret doors of Patreon, continuing to wave the Patreon flag, you can join Patreon. Patreon.com/wisdom of the sages. It helps support me and Kaustubha doing what we love to do. And we're trying to add all this extra content. It sounds bad, but I'm enjoying the quarantine. Is that a bad thing to say? I'm really enjoying the quarantine so far, but I'm not taking away that there is a lot of pain. There's people dying. There's tragedy. There's people working overtime. For my tiny universe, it's giving me connection time with my family, with my kids. Getting to do kirtan with my family, which is really special. Just sit down and have kirtan, and get to read more and get to do these. We've been doing these Sweet Baby Krishna shows, which are really, I tell you, it's the same thing. It's like, I like to read Krishna book in the evening, but you know, there's always something to take place instead of doing it.
Yeah.
But when there's like accountability of a bunch of people there, like, where's Raghunath? It's sort of like, okay, I got to do Krishna book. And reading Krishna Leela in the evening is so powerful. Well, you know, this week in my family is Native American week. So we've been studying the lives of Native Americans. So we watched that movie, Bury My Heart, A Wounded Knee. Ever see that?
No.
It's just like one sad Native American story after another. There's like hardly any happy stories. And so it's a longer movie. So we watched part 2 after Sweet Baby Krishna. So I came home because I had to do the recording outside, long internet problems. So I did it outside, and I drove back. And my kids were like, and Rocco came with me, and my other kids were like, how was your Krishna book? And I was like, it was so sweet. Just to wind down and read Krishna book is so sweet in the evening time. And they're like, okay, let's watch Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee. And I was like, oh yeah. And now we got to watch this. I'm thinking there's like these horrible like raids on Indians, and then Indians retaliating and bloodshed. I was like, now I got to go to bed with thinking of these horrible thoughts and the tragedies and the tragic lives the Native Americans faced. But so it was a very sweet wind down. Then it got worked up to a crazy frenzy of killing Sitting Bull. And now.
And thus you didn't have any of your special dreams last night.
You know what? I had a Vrindavan dream again. I'd say in 8 days, I have had 3 Vrindavan dreams.
Wow.
But last night's was it wasn't a fully transcendental dream. Literally, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but I have this issue with snooze. I call snooze an extension of Maya Devi. Snooze is sort of like you're up, you get hit by that alarm, time to get up, and all of a sudden there's that option for that first choice of the day. Shall I hit procrastination, or shall I move forward with my bhajan? And so I have this like snooze is your enemy thing. But today, because the dream, I was sort of lost in this dream. Like, is it a Krishna dream? Because I was ordering a paneer roti, a paneer paratha in my dream. And I was arguing with the guy. I was in Vrindavan, but it was Prabodh is laughing. I was arguing over a paneer paratha. That's how I woke up. But I was in a holy place. But it wasn't a full-on transcendental dream. But I remember I have to leave Vrindavan, and I was thinking, God, was this like a material dream or a spiritual dream? I have to hit snooze to try to re-enter that place. But
you never ate the paratha.
I never ate the paratha.
Oh, man.
Snooze, Davy. Snooze is very sneaky, Joey Eslick says. Yes, it is. So, I got these beautiful prayers I wanted to read about Ram's name. Is that cool?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So let's start with this. It's called Ram Nam.
Where's this from?
I don't know where it's from. It's ancient.
Okay.
How about that?
Walk the tightrope today.
It's old. It's really old. Trust me, it's old. It's got an unknown author. It is well known. Okay. Lord Ram built a long, I'm just going to read the translation. Lord Ram built a long bridge across the ocean. Oops, do I have to mute people? Is that what's going on here? Hold on a second.
Our
Mute
dear
all.
Bobby.
Get you.
Oh no.
It's okay. I got you. Now, Kaustubha, unmute Kaustubha. Lord Ram built a long bridge across the ocean to transport monkeys and bears over the waters. But Ram's name, Ram Nam, unlimited numbers of souls have crossed that bridge, which is the bridge across the ocean of samsara. Samsara is birth and death.
So there's a little poetic thing going on there, right? Because
yeah,
the monkeys wrote Ram's name on all those stones and they threw them into the water, and that created the bridge to Lanka.
Well, the first one is especially poetic because of the Ram. This whole thing is about the power of Ram's name. And it's going to compare the power of Ram's name to other pastimes that happen. But yes, that first one was even more poetic.
So they're saying, what was it again? That
Lord Ram built
our bridge.
Lord Ram built a long bridge across the ocean to transport the monkeys and the bears over the waters. But Ram's name, Ram Nam, unlimited numbers of souls have crossed the ocean of samsara.
The ocean of samsara. Gotcha.
Lord Ram conferred immortality to his faithful servants like Shabari and Jatayu. But Ram Nam has delivered many wretched people without asking for any qualification. It's saying that the name of Ram is even more powerful than Ram. Lord Ram killed demons like Ravana, Kara, and Dushashana. Wait, I can't wait. Dushana. I'm sorry, Dushana. But Ram's name has extinguished innumerable demonic qualities. Lord Ram touched and liberated Akalya, who was imprisoned in stone. It was a good story. But Ram Nam has broken down so many prison walls of Maya. Lord Ram purified forests like Chitrakuta and Dandakaranya. But Ram Nam, however, has cleansed so many jungles of the heart. Lord Ram gave shelter to Vibhishan and Sugriva, but Ram Nam, however, has sheltered uncountable souls. It is an open secret that Ram's name has qualities like forgiveness and compassion, qualities that the nirguna brahman lacks. All glories to Lord Ram's name.
I think some special mercy that came upon me in my life is Ram is my last name.
There you go.
My last name is Ramella.
So you've got this Agyata Sukriti?
Yeah, somehow I was always hearing the name of Ram.
Just see. Hey, Ram, get over here. High school, what's up, Ram? All this like high school talk, but you're getting the benefit of hearing Ram's name, because even if you chant the name in jest, or if you chant the name without knowing, or even in a critical way, people hearing the name of Ram. That's why I only stay at the Ramada Inn.
There you go. But so that little poem right there, it was kind of, it was covering all these different bases about what the power of the name of God and how it is non-different from God and how it accomplishes so much, right?
Yeah.
So in that last one, it said that it has a kind of power that nirguna brahman doesn't have. Could you say that again?
Yeah. One second, I pushed it away, but yeah. It is an open secret that Ram's name has qualities like forgiveness and compassion, qualities that nirguna brahman lacks. Can you explain that?
Yeah. So forgiveness and compassion. So there's saguna brahman and nirguna brahman. So brahman means the spiritual energy, and guna means qualities. So saguna means with qualities, and nirguna means without qualities. Mm-hmm. Now, many people are when they want to think of God, they may be attracted to that impersonal, quality-less manifestation, nirguna Brahman. because because there may be a fear, a type of hesitation to even accept the idea that God or Brahman can be personal, because I've had so many screwed up relationships with other people. And I don't really like the idea that when I get past all of this, that there's another person to deal with. I'm more attracted to the idea that there'll just be peace. But what that verse is saying is that the name of Ram, that's the saguna Brahman. That's the manifestation of spiritual energy that has personality. But not just personality, but when you connect with that personality, all that you fear won't be there, but what you'll find there is forgiveness and compassion. You'll be connecting. So in one sense, to cross over that ocean of samsara, we need forgiveness and compassion. And they're present in the names of Ram. It's not so much present in the nirguna Brahman, which is just like, it's not there to get to nirguna Brahman. You do it on your own strength, and it's really hard to get there. With saguna Brahman, it's like, hey, I'm forgiving, compassion. I can just bring you right over that ocean of samsara. I'll make up for whatever. I'll carry what you lack. I'll preserve what you have. That kind of thing.
Lord Ram lifts us up. Yeah, it's a great day. And so what Kaustubha and myself like to do on days like this is we'll play some Ram bhajans. We will sometimes we'll fast till noon, or sometimes till moonrise. We will. What else do you like to do? I'll do a special puja with my kids.
We'll do a special puja this morning.
Special worship.
Yeah, and of course, reading Ramayana you can do today.
And reading Ramayana, yeah, and Ramayana is one of the, it's like it's up there with like the big top 3 epics of all of ancient India. You have the Mahabharata, the Srimad Bhagavatam, and the Ramayana. And the Ramayana is all the pastimes of Lord Ram. The Mahabharata is the stories of Krishna and his transcendental nephews, the Pandavas. And the Srimad Bhagavatam is those childhood pastimes of Krishna, as well as all the avatars of Vishnu. These stories are told repeatedly. This is their Netflix evening village talk. You get together and you read this. It's just like, this is how you wind up the evening. It's a nice feel-good way to wind down your day. And it's a nice feel-good way to start your morning. And that's what we got to do in this world. We have this tendency to get thrown into the gunas. And does anybody remember, do you remember waking up to a radio alarm clock, Kaustubha?
I do remember those.
It like wakes up and you're playing like the Rolling Stones or something when I was growing up. And so the idea is that as soon as you wake up, you're sort of like, okay, I got to get dressed and I got to brush my teeth and I got to go to, and it's not supposed to be like that. It's supposed to be, we wake up and we're in this sattvic period. We wake up before everybody wakes up. This is our meditational time. If you have kids, if you have a puppy, whatever it is that needs a lot of attention in the morning, wake up before they get up. And that's your time for meditation. So ideally, before sunrise, keep the sattvic morning sattvic. And then you got to get into your busyness. We have our day, we have our work. That's rajas. That's understandable. We have to go to work and we work throughout the day, but we've already we've set a standard for how we want our day to go by that morning sadhana, our japa, our puja, our study, our reading together. And then through the course of the day, we go about our work. And then in the evening, when you want to go to tamas, it's naturally to go to tamas. I want to hit some alcohol. I want to just watch some movie. I want to zone out. I want to that's when we have to bring it back. We have to sandwich in that rajas with sattva in the morning and sattva in the evening, winding it down, having some evening kirtan, reading together as a family, or your own personal meditation or some nighttime evening japa. And this transcendental sandwich makes your day incredibly peaceful. It changes the real quality of life. Kaustubha's like that. He's a real winder downer. I know that from roommating with him for many years.
Time to wind down, Raghunath. Time to wind down.
That was his biggest complaint with me as my roommate this year in India. He'd be all winding down. He's got very, very elaborate winding down rituals.
There are no rituals. It just takes a little time. That's all.
And then I come in late and just go, I just got back from a crazy kirtan. It was so cool. Oh my God, you should hear it. Everybody was dancing. And he's just like, okay, settle down, Raghu. Settle it down.
And the thing is, it's not necessary for you, because then you come in, you break up my wind down, and then you lie down and you go to sleep, and you're literally in under a minute, you're asleep, like dead asleep, snoring away.
Under 1 minute. I kid you not.
I'm starting my wind down from the beginning again. And it's harder now because you're snoring.
I'm making all types of noises. You think I'm just snorting and snuffing?
But you know, some things that people can do today, people are reminding us here on the chat board, but every day, Genevieve Harrison is doing kirtan at, I think it's, I forget the exact time now, because I think the time changed in Europe now. Maybe someone can share that, like what time it would be. It's 8 to 9 p.m. in England and in the UK. So you can figure it out from there. 3 p.m. now, Eastern time. And so she's doing great kirtan. You can bet she's going to speak about Lord Ram today. So that would be a nice activity to tune into. And Kamini is mentioning that Madhava Naidu, he's one of the coolest guys and incredible kirtan leader. You know, he's doing live streaming every day as well. So you can check him out on social media. I'd imagine that's on Instagram or Facebook. These are great things to be tuning into while we're all locked down like this. And today we can imagine they'll be special.
Yeah. We have the opportunity to just survive, or we can really thrive here. And I'm going to choose thriving. I'm going to choose thriving. And
Good choice.
Is it actually, does Ramadan, the Islamic fasting, start today? And is it called Ramadan? Does it have any relationship to Ram?
I do not know this. No idea. I don't think so. I don't think this is the time for Ramadan. I think it's, but I'm not sure, to be honest.
Okay, you gotta get up. You gotta like brush up on your Islamic holidays.
Okay, I'll work on that. So what's next on our smorgasbord of Ram Kata?
Well, you know, would you like me to tell some Ram Leela? That was your request. And do you have any particular requests, or should I just dive into what is like inspiring me?
You know, some things that I really love are the pastime when Hanuman meets Ram and Lakshman. That's always a really beautiful one. But so many are. I think whatever you feel inspired by is what we should hear. What you feel inspired to tell, I am inspired to hear.
All right, I'm gonna have to channel Bharat. I'm meditating on Bharat.
Are you going to put on a little crown? And
Bharat was the prince, you know, the younger brother. Ram had 3 brothers. Good trivia. If you're playing Ram Leela trivia today, Ram had 3 brothers. Bharat was the younger brother. And then he had 2 twin brothers, Lakshman and Satrugna. And Satrugna was really fond of his older brother Bharat. And Lakshman very fond of Ram. But they were all raised by 3 mothers. Kaushalya was Ram's mother. Kaikeyi was Bharat's mother. And Sumitri was the twins' mother. So all 3 of them, they were interchangeable as far as their affection goes. And Kaushalya was the eldest. Kaikeyi was the youngest, considered the most attractive. But Kaikeyi, and this is an important topic, is the people we associate with affect us in a very deep way. And sometimes they can cause fear in our heart. A lot of us are experiencing this just turning on the news. And one of our, requirements on the show is don't watch too much. One of our recommendations is don't watch too much. Oh my gosh, what was that? Don't watch too much news, because the news can really put fear into your heart. It's good to be reasonably educated about what's going on, But when you watch too much, there's so many opinions. People have panic attacks. So Kaikeyi, even though she loved Ram, had a maid called Manthara.
There's actually a place in, so hold on.
What is going on there, Corinda? Come on. So Ram had this, So Kaikeyi had this maid Manthara, and Manthara was very, very upset, the maid, when she heard the news that Ram was going to be coronated king.
She became fearful. Right?
Manthara became incredibly fearful, and Bart was away at the time.
She thought that her position, like she was in a good position because she's connected to Kaikeyi, who's kind of like the favorite wife. But if
She's
Ram,
the favorite, she's the up and coming cool wife.
yeah, but if Ram becomes next king, well, then all that shifts and my position will change and I won't be happy anymore. And I won't be, is that kind of
envy,
that kind of political thought, that kind of fear, then it's that kind of thought we really have to protect our own mind from. We have to feel a certain stability. I'm connected to God. I'm okay. And then so that Manthara, she got kind of polluted by that kind of thought herself. And then she, like a virus, she spread that fear, right?
Like a virus. And the first thing she did when everybody was in the midst of this great celebration, Dasarath has announced that Ram will be coronated tomorrow. And so even Kaikeyi was so happy. Kaikeyi was very loving towards Ram. But when Manthara came in, she started to chastise the queen. She said, "Why are you so happy? Don't you understand? This is a death knell. This is a sign that you soon will be completely neglected. Your desire for Ram to be coronated is wishing your own death. Your son should be the king. This is the only way you can secure your position in the palace." And immediately Kaikeyi was dismissing it. How can you say that? Ram loves me. I won't be neglected. You think Dasarath will neglect me? You think Ram will neglect me? Ram loves me like his mother. I love Ram like my own son. And she just very, very condescendingly talked down. You are just a young girl, Kaikeyi. Trust me, I've been around a long time. Ram will be coronated and you will be mistreated. You will be secondhand citizen. You'll be completely neglected. You have no idea. And if you listen to someone long enough, fear can sit in your heart. It just happens with the mind. You hear anything in the mind and you can become a little fearful. I call them turbo scenarios where you take one thing and you sort of blow it up. Never do stuff like that. When we grew up in a house in Connecticut, and if me and my mom were home alone, I was 12 years old, and we'd be in the bedroom or something like that, and I hear a noise, and if you live in a big house, they make all noises, the radiator, the furnace, and so it's sort of like clink clank. It's like 10 o'clock at night, and you just hear clink clank, and you're like, what's that noise? And your mom looks at you and she's sort of like, what was that noise? I've never heard it. Clink, clank. And hear it again. And so all of a sudden you think, well, it's just the pipes. Then you hear clink, clank. And you hear some other house noise. And you start getting a little fearful. Like, what could that be? And I tell you, there's something about a New York City apartment where you feel like there's a front door. No one's getting in this place. But in a house, you start thinking, well, did I lock the back door? Did I leave the garage door open? I always imagine some guy with a knife in his teeth crawling in the backyard, making that clink clank. So my mind starts going to all these fearful scenarios. Next thing you know, I'm walking around the house with a wiffle bat, whatever I have I'm looking what can be used as a weapon. So once you let fear into the mind, it can spin out of control like that. And immediately Kaikeyi started fearing that
she took on a whole new character,
a whole new person. And it happens with all of us. Once we let fear and panic makes people do some horrible things. And once we let that in the consciousness, watch out. So next in that story was, you know, where she went from there. You want to tell a little?
Well, Manthara convinced Kaikeyi that, you need to do something now. And she was reminded that years before, that once Kaikeyi had saved her husband Dasarath on the battlefield, like when he was injured, she stepped up. I don't know how she was there, but she stepped up and managed to get control of his chariot and get him off the battlefield and save him. And at that time, Dasarath made a promise to her that anything that you ask of me, I give you, how do you call it? Not like a boon, but like a promise that
Boons.
it was like, you can ask me of anything and I'll do it for you. I'll give it to you. So she held on to that promise that, she held on to that like a coupon kind of thing,
Yeah, like a coupon. Like during
like,
checkout when you said, do you have any coupons? Yeah, I have 2.
yeah.
Hey.
So Manthara said, call upon him now and ask him now that you say to him, you made me this promise. Well, now I call upon it. And what I ask you to do now is that you don't crown Ram the king tomorrow, but you crown my own son Bharat as the king. And that was for Dasarath. You see, Ramayana it's all full of rasa, and Dasarath's, Ram's father, his love for Ram was so deep, and his heart was so set on establishing him as the next king that he was just shocked to even hear this. Nobody thought this way. Nobody had this. Everyone loved Ram. Nobody had bad feelings towards him, fear of him, envy towards him. Where was this coming from? He couldn't understand it at first. Right? You want to take it?
Yeah. So these were the 2 boons. One, that Ram not be the king and Bharat become the king. And then Ram become banished to the forest. That was the second boon.
Oh, so that was just like, how could you even think of such a thing? Why?
And she really got her wits about her, so-called wits, and went in and presented this to Dasarath. And Dasarath at first, like, what are you talking about? Bharat wants Ram to be king. Bharat will want Ram to be king. Everybody wants Ram to be king. Ram's the elder brother. He's been trained in this. He's been expecting this his whole life.
But Manthara trained her to, no matter what he says, don't give in,
She just dug her chappals in and refused to accept that. And so finally, Dasarath, the father, went from sort of like laughing, are you serious, to like arguing a little, to like sobbing, because there's this thing about keeping your word. And once you said, no, this is what I want, you promised me this, I not only want Bharat the king, I want him banished. I want Ram banished to the forest. And of course, he's like losing it right now. Dasarath's losing. He's like in tears. He's losing his mind. I'm going to lose my Ram. I'd rather not die. And she's just saying, oh, just be noble. Why are you being so soft-hearted?
You gave your word.
Just live up to your word, like your fathers and your forefathers have done before you. Yeah. And when Ram heard all the ruckus, a lot of the ministers were saying, there's some argument going on. We've never heard your father yell like this. He's yelling in the chambers with the queen. Go see what's in him. When Ram came in, his mother, father, what is the matter? Dasarath could not speak anything. And Kaikeyi very, very firmly just said, your father is very upset because he does not want to keep a promise. And so, father, this is nothing like you. You always kept promises. Why would you say, why would you not want to keep a promise? Dasarath said nothing. All he could do was mumble Ram's name, Ram, Ram, Ram. And one pressed, mother, what is the matter with father? I don't understand. He has made a vow to me that you not become coronated today, and that you must go to the forest for 14 years. This is what he vowed to me, and that my son, but not you. See, immediately she's noticed distinction. my son.
Yeah.
She
He's
never,
calling her mother.
right. He's calling her mother, and she's saying, my son Bart become the king. And Ram's answer, this is another beautiful it's another beautiful demonstration of samadhi. And what is samadhi? But it's a sameness. What's this? We talk about a sameness in happiness and distress. What could be more like materially exciting if you've waited your entire life to become the king, right? And all that goes with being the king. It's like the day before, or maybe even that day was happening. And all of a sudden, no. Not only that, but you're going to go to the forest and live on roots and fruits. You're going to be like the original raw foodist, roaming around the jungle, eating nothing but carrots and edible, sun artichokes and whatever grows around there. You can't cook food. That's what he was banished to do. He's probably really healthy after that.
Take off your royal clothing. You dress yourself in bark.
Did you ever hear that story about dressing in bark?
The story about it?
Yeah, they always talk about dressing in bark.
Yeah.
Because the Pandavas dressed in bark also.
Yeah.
And I always thought like that must be weird dressing. I always pictured like the bark of sort of like, ever see how they like take the bark off trees in these wood mills? And it's just like a big, like a barrel or something. But there's actually a special type of tree that when you wet the bark, it sort of molds to your body. And that's what the sadhus would wear in the forest. And it still wasn't like you're wearing a cashmere sweater or anything. It wasn't so comfortable, but that's the type of bark they wore. So anyway, that was his curse. He had to go to the forest. But Ram demonstrated this equanimity, this equal mind, and which is what we're moving towards in the yoga system. Even in a simple yoga class, when the teacher says, breathe. Don't notice the sensation you're feeling as I'm holding you in chair pose, as I'm holding you in warrior two. Notice the sensation, but don't add extra meaning to the sensation. Things just are, and our mind adds extra meaning to them. Things just are, and we create a whole layers of meaning on top of them. And so Ram, of course, is setting that example. And he looked at his mother and he said, looked at his father and said, Father, is this the problem? This is why you're upset? You've kept your word. I'm supposed to go to the forest. I'm not supposed to be the king. And he looked at his mother and said, Mother, when would you like me to leave? And she goes, I think it's best you leave immediately. Ram bowed down, touched his mother's feet. As you wish, mother, I'll go immediately. It was that simple for Ram. No attachment. Whatever my duty is, that's what he showed, this equanimity, which every yogi is it's actually the goal of yoga. Equanimity in any situation. And here again is another reversal. When we read these Puranas or these ancient stories of India, another reversal. Here's a person who's about to be a king. He loses everything and has to be homeless in the forest. But because Rama is so loved and so attractive and so wonderful, the entire city of Ayodhya want to go with him. And Rama has to talk them down. You can't go. But Sita, his wife, I want to go with you. There is no way I am living. So Sita represents Kaustubha. It's like, there's no way I can live without Lord Ram in my life. That's Kaustubha's mood. How could I live without Lord Ram? So Sita's like, I'm going. And then Lakshman also, look, I'm not leaving Ram either. So Lakshman and Sita accompany him to the forest.
It's the role that books like Ramayana and Mahabharata played and continue to play in Indian culture, what to speak of bhakti culture, is like so important that you're seeing like there's this contrast between Kaikeyi's state of mind and Ram's state of mind. Kaikeyi was fearful that she couldn't be happy just because her son wasn't king, even though she's a queen. She's got all opulence. She's got all fame. She's got all respect. She's got, practically everything. Just that one little thing, was enough to create fear and disturb her mind. I can't find happiness in the situation. I need to do something drastic. Ram, who's about to be crowned king, is told you should disappear into the forest for no good reason.
Like a refugee of his own kingdom, running from his own land, from his own people, from his birthright.
Yeah. And then the way he responds, there's so much, it's meant to churn the heart a little bit and say, whoa, you know, just think about the character, you know. So then he's got to go and tell his bride, you know, his, you know, indescribably beautiful bride, you know, that he has this deep loving attachment for. I need to go to the forest now. We're going to be separated. And she's like saying, well, I'm going with you. And he's saying, you can't go with me. You've been a princess. You've been lived, you know, with opulence your whole life.
We even say that, right? We even say like, man,
Yeah.
she's such a princess.
She's such,
She actually was a princess.
She was a
She
princess.
actually was a princess.
Yeah. And so, you know, he's saying, you know, I'm going to be sleeping on the ground. I'm going to be, you know, just, it's going to be austere. She doesn't. So now we look at her character, right? She's willing to give up all the comforts of a palace and all of this to be with the man she loves, to serve the man she loves. You know, she's like, I don't care what I have to go through. I'm going with you. You know, he can't convince her not to come. So she comes, you know, Lakshman comes. But just through every step, what we learn through the character of Ram is meant to shape our life. You know, it's meant to, it's through regular hearing. Everyone would fall in love with these stories, but they weren't just great stories that were entertaining. They actually would shape the minds and the characters of the listeners, you know, and ultimately the hearts.
You know, a side note on this is there is a desire for the jiva, for the spirit soul, to want to look up to have heroes, to have, you know, a beacon, a lighthouse in their life. A child has a picture of a basketball star or you know, a football star. I had baseball celebrities or punk posters or whatever. And you want to look up to people. And I don't know about you, but if you've ever had someone you looked up to, but you got to meet that person, or some info came out about that person and you realize, wow, I thought this person was much cooler than he was. And then I met him and it sort of let me down. Or I thought this person was bigger than life, but I realized this person's also human and has some problems. It's different. Because the heroes in the Vedic lore aren't led by some technique. Like I can throw 1,000,000 baskets, you know, I can make 1,000 foul shots, or I can have record hitting home runs, or I can run the fastest. It's got nothing to do with technique. It's got to do with your character. And all the heroes, they're driven by character, which is in these Greek civilizations and these Indian civilizations, that was the goal of education. Was developing character. It wasn't just to learn some technique. My kids have learned this technique and now they can make money in this world and now they'll be successful. It was character development was always pushed. Technique is second. I always say to my kids, I'd rather you come out like dumb stone and have good character. I don't care what you know. If you have bad character, it's sort of like it shakes up the Etch-a-Sketch. It makes it all worthless. Big deal.
Yeah. Such a good point, such an important point. And it really helps us understand the value of this literary tradition, this yogic literary tradition of Ramayana, of Mahabharata, of Srimad Bhagavatam, that these three, the wisdom and that information about elevating one's character is so deep in them. And then they infused all of the Indian culture, all of the music and the arts and everything, the architecture, the drama, poetry. It was all full of this kind of substance, you know, that makes one want to become pure, that makes one want to become kind, that makes one want to act with wisdom. And you build a culture like that, you know, you can build a beautiful society, you know, on that.
There was such a devotion to, you know, it's funny when you ever read these stories and the avatar is there. There's certain people that recognize this person is the avatar. This person, this is God. And there's certain people, even though Ram's face to face, they can't see him. And we have that in our culture today. We have people who are in this world, but just be like, there is no spiritual vision. They just see the world, it's just whatever. It's whatever. And there's some people that can pick up a blade of grass and be like, wow, look at this thing. Or this fruit tree. This fruit tree is giving me fruit. And the fruit has seeds to grow more fruit trees. So I was going to tell the story about the boatman. When Rama finally leaves in the middle of the night, he gets to the river to cross into the forest. There's a boatman that picks up the family. And Kaustubha will tell you too, because in the old days, when we were younger, there used to be a guy sitting right by the river, and you want to cross the river, and he's in a boat. And the boat, there was no motors. He just had a stick, and they used to take us across the Ganga, and we used to go to Navadvip that way. Or in Vrindavan, we crossed the Yamuna. Now they have some like motorboats and stuff, but usually it was just like a boatman, and they don't even get paid 1 rupee to take across. They get paid less than a rupee.
Paisa.
Right? Some paisa, right? Just for it, and the boatman will be waiting. So sure enough, here's this boatman, humble, and he sees Ram, and he gets to serve Ram, and he's like in like rapture that he gets to take Ram and Sita and Lakshman across the river. And then when he crosses the river, Ram is so grateful. Ram says, "What do I owe you?" And he is just thinking, "What do you owe me, Ram? What do you owe me? I owe you everything, Ram. How can you even ask such a question?" So the idea is that those who are actually connected spiritually, they have such a debt in their heart towards Ram. And it's in this debt that we find our seva, our significance, and even our joy. Because whenever there is gratitude, there's generally accompanying gratitude, holding hands with gratitude is a type of deep joy in our heart. Whereas Kaikeyi represented this fear, envy, attachment. There's not gratitude. She's a queen already, but she's fear of like maybe losing a little bit of a position. Out of everybody in the entire society, she's one of the higher echelons. There's a way you can have everything in this world and be miserable, isn't it? And then there is a way you can have nothing, like this boatman. He's getting paid paisa, right? And he's so grateful. He sees Ram, he offers obeisances to Ram, and realizes, you don't owe me anything, Ram, I owe you everything. What a mood. So all these characters, like Kaustubha was saying, they're colorfully painted for us to like learn lessons from.
What was that we heard yesterday? That was some shared by Radha Swami, that gratitude is the lobby to the something or other, and there's no back door. Was it to spiritual advancement or something like that?
How many put that up? Maybe
How many help us out with that? Put that up there again if you can.
Man, there's so many good Ram stories I want to tell.
Here she comes. It's good. It's
generation.
But yeah, that point about gratitude is so so instructive.
Can I wrap this up with the holy story of a holy bird?
Yeah, you know what I'm thinking as we're doing this is maybe we ought to have extended Ram Katha this evening. You know,
Ram Katha.
I feel like we're just getting started here. Character shapes. Oh no, that's Aravind. Kamini, I don't know if you can remember that. Here we go. Gratitude is the lobby to the palace of bhakti, and there is no back door. Right? You can't get in any other way except by having a heart full of gratitude.
Oh, I get it. There's no back door.
Yeah.
Oh,
that was Liam. Thank you, Liam. Okay, yeah, please tell the story of Jatayu. And what do you think tonight? Maybe some more? Think about it. Maybe we do it.
Okay, we'll announce it if we do it.
Okay.
Raghunath Swami says, Jatayu was a vulture, the lowest caste of bird, right? If there is a caste system, a hierarchy, then I'd say the vulture is pretty low down. First of all, he's not a beauty. He's not like a parrot or a quetzal or a
swan
or a swan,
an eagle.
They're ugly to look at, actually, vultures, and they're and it's not like they're eating fruit from the trees like parrots eat fruit.
Or even killing it themselves, like being kind of heroic,
like
or something like that.
Like a hawk will kill another bird, or an owl will kill another bird, and They're sort of like meat-eating birds. A vulture eats dead animals. Only you have to kill it. It's waiting for it to die, and then it will eat it, sort of like a jackal would. And so it's considered low-born by those habits, or the lowest caste among birds. Yet, Jatayu represents us. I mean, in one sense, we're low-born. We're born in the Western world. I can speak for myself. Born in the Western world with a lot of bad habits, with a true-to-life dented can, a card-carrying dented can in this world. And yet we're trying to find our way out. And Jatayu shows that anybody can make their way out of any situation. And he demonstrated this by his activities. When Sita was being taken away by Ravana kidnapped. So there's this 10-headed monster who lives in Lanka named Ravana, incredibly powerful, the most powerful of all yogis. If there was Instagram around when when Ravana was around, he'd have billions of followers. So many people, he could do everything. And so he kidnapped Sita, and all Sita did was demonstrate how to behave when you're in great distress. And she just called out, Ram, oh Ram, hey Ram, Lakshman, Ram. And so in her calling out, it awakened the heart of this old, right? Not even a young vulture, an old vulture. So here he is. He's got strikes against him. He's old. He's ugly. He's a low caste bird. But he's got a heart. He's got a special heart. He was a Ram Bhakta. And when he heard Mother Sita calling out, and he started immediately putting the puzzle together, Sita's being taken away. Oh, this is horrible. And he realized at that moment, it is my duty to give my life for Sita. And it's something that everybody needs, something that they die for. And sometimes we're not expecting that's going to be called upon us today. But sometimes we just need to stand up very tall and make a declaration of what we are. And this is exactly what Jatayu, and he flew high in the sky. And he said, I am a devotee of Lord Ram. And there is no way I'm going to allow you to take Mother Sita with me living. And if you let her go immediately, or prepare for the fight of your life. And so Ravana,
Sita's saying, don't do it. He'll kill you.
Yeah, right? Sita's saying, you're old. Jatayu, what are you doing? Just go get Ram. Fly and get Ram. And he thought, no. There's no time for this. I have to fight right now. So Sita's crying now that Jatayu is going to fight. Here's some old bird sticking up for me. And Ravana laughed at him. He said, are you kidding me? Are you even kidding me? I'll destroy you. And a horrible battle in the air, because someone asked a story about flying spaceships. Ravana had a flying chariot. And I tell you, for an old bird, he scratched at Ravana's face. Ravana had this ability to heal himself instantly. He was a total mystic. And he would chop at me, bite at me, clump. The fight in the air went on for an hour. And then finally, the chariot fell to the ground, and a fight on the ground started taking place. And not a best place to fight a bird, because they're usually better in the air. But eventually, Jatayu started to get weaker. And at that point, Ravana noticed, yes, he is getting weak. Now I'll get stronger. And he grabbed Jatayu by the neck, and he cut off his feet, and he cut off his arms, and he threw him to the ground in a big, bloody, feathery mess. And then he healed himself. Ravana healed himself, took Sita. The chariot was destroyed, and he just flew through the sky with Sita. And in the forest, as Ram and Lakshman are like tracking, like trackers through the forest, looking for broken twigs, looking for signs, looking for clues. Wait, what happened to Sita? Where is Sita? Where did she go? And all of a sudden, they hear this moaning, this weird sound. And they thought, what is that sound? And as they come closer, they saw blood everywhere. and they saw feathers everywhere. And Lakshman said, oh my God, Sita has been eaten by a beast. There's some feathery beast over there. It's devouring Sita as we speak. And he put his hand on his scabbard and drew his sword, and Lakshman charged this feathery mess. And Ram said, no, 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 no. Look. And as Ram went closer, he picked up Jatayu, lifted him up and said, Jatayu, is this you? And he had no wings, he had no legs. He was left there to die. And he looked at Ram and said, yes, my lord, it is me, your servant, Ram. Your servant Jatayu. He said, and I'm here to tell you today, Ram, I have failed you. I have failed you. Please forgive me. What are you saying? He said, Sita was taken away. I offered my life to bring her back, and I could not beat Ravana, and now I have failed you. Please forgive me, Ram, please. I didn't want my last effort to fail. I don't want my last effort to serve you be a failure. And Ram embraced this big bloody vulture and started to caress him and start to hug him and rock back and forth. And he said, Ravana, your life is perfect. And it's our whole story, isn't it, Kaustubha, in Bhakti, how there is no success. There is no failure. It's all success.
When you give your life to serve like that,
right?
Success or failure, it's all success.
It's all success or failure is all success. He gave his life to Ram. And how did he leave his body? Thinking of Ram, in Ram's arms, in Ram's embrace. And this is the greatness. There's a lot of things in the material world. If you fail, you're a failure.
Even if you succeed, you're a failure.
Even if you succeed, you're a failure. Like, it's not like in the stock market. If you fail in the stock market, guess what? You failed in the stock market. You've lost everything. If you fail in real estate investment, you've lost everything. If you fail in your service in Bhakti, guess what? You've still served in Bhakti. We're not required. We've got nothing to do with the results. We're just here to give. And whatever happens is up to Krishna.
Oh, what a tearjerker.
It is a tearjerker. If I had more of a backstory, I could have worked you guys up more.
Let's do it tonight, Raghu. Let's do it tonight. I'm going to push you on that today. Let's see. Okay. Hey, we got to mention before we quit here, I see we got a special old friend of ours tuning in today. We got Jayanta, John Watson.
John Watson, he's another seed, one of the original hardcore preachers to me in Kaustubha. I didn't see him in there.
He just popped up right next to me.
Welcome.
Great to see you. We both, Raghunath and I, feel a great debt of gratitude to people like Louis, to people like Jayanta.
In 1987, I worked in a restaurant called Ahimsa with Jayanta, and he used to preach to me. He probably doesn't remember, but he used to preach to me about the glories of Krishna. And because of that, it's always forever deeply embedded in my heart. So offer my respectful obeisances right now. So grateful to be here. So Jai Shri Ram.
Jai Shri Ram.
Thanks everybody for joining us today. It's a great day for a great day today, that's for sure. It's a great day to remember Ram, think about Ram, sing songs about Ram. And if you're listening to us on Apple Podcast, welcome. If you're new to this, it's a great day to binge listen to back episodes of the Srimad Bhagavatam. That's right. You want to binge on something? You have addictive personality? It's time to take that addiction and put it towards things that are going to purify the consciousness. Choose your addictions wisely in the material world. Make sure you give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. That really makes a difference to our rankings. It gives us visibility in the whole podcast world. So if you haven't done that, please go. If you're listening to on Zoom, we expect you to chant 1 round of japa at least today. Sit in peace, find some quiet time, and just go inside and hear the holy name and make that mantra speak to you where it says, what would you like? Your prayer is, what would you like from me in this short life? And make that be your prayer. Hare And thanks for everybody joining Patreon. If you haven't joined Patreon, check it out. Patreon.com/wisdom of the sages. It's an important way to connect deeper with the community. It helps support me and Kaustubha. You get something out of this. You give whatever you want, whatever you can give. And we just like to build that community thicker and thicker and thicker. The material world can snap you. That's why community is powerful. We're like twigs, but 1,000 twigs, hard to snap them. So thanks for everybody part of that community. And now it's time for Krishna karaoke.